Hi, I'm Arnie Gundersen from Fairewinds. The Japanese Parliament has just passed the State Secrets Law. It's really an information iron curtain that's preventing people in Japan from learning just how bad the exposures were that they received after the accident in Fukushima. The International Atomic Energy Agency and the Japanese government under Prime Minister Abe are trying desperately to start up 50 nuclear power plants in Japan. As part of that, they're trying to underestimate the amount of radiation that the Japanese received after this accident. I think they're wrong. I think they're neglecting some really serious sources of radiation in their effort to convince the Japanese people that nuclear power is safe. The first thing they're neglecting is noble gases. Noble gases are chemicals that don't react with anything. They're immediately released from the nuclear fuel after a meltdown. Over Chiba, the concentration of noble gases was 1,000 disintegrations per second in a cubic meter of air. So a piece of air 3 feet by 3 feet by 3 feet, every second was releasing 1,000 radioactive decays. And that continued for about 7 days. We just discovered that over Vancouver, 230 disintegrations per second were detected of noble gases, a week after the people in Chiba got hit. These exposures are not being calculated by the Japanese, nor are they being calculated by the IAEA, and are in fact enormous. The data is clear. Fukushima was 3 times worse than Chernobyl as far as the noble gases that were released. The second thing is iodine. Iodine goes preferentially to your thyroid gland, and it can be prevented if you take iodine pills ahead of time. Well, the Japanese government didn't want to create a mass hysteria and didn't give the pills out. The net effect is that they jeopardize people's lives in order to avoid the mass hysteria. And now the Japanese are paying the price. There's already a 10-fold increase in thyroid issues in Japan, and we're just at the beginning of the thyroid epidemic. The next one is the radioactive cesium, which is pretty easily detected. You'll see people throughout Japan walking around with detectors. Those detectors are picking up the airborne exposure to the outside of their body from the cesium that's lying on the soil. It's the easiest thing to measure. It's the lowest yardstick of radiation exposure. And that's the thing that the Japanese government is focusing on. Not the total exposure that these people are receiving, but the lowest amount they're receiving as measured by their external radiation detectors. The last thing is hot particles. We've been talking about hot particles here at Fairewinds since April of 2011. We picked them up in Seattle. We know that the people as far north as Vancouver and as far south as Portland, Oregon, were receiving hot particles in the air during the end of March and all the way through April of 2011. In Japan, it's even worse. Large puddles of black particles have been found on the side of the road. Each individual grain is extraordinarily radioactive. This is fallout. This is hot particles that have coalesced together on the side of the road. Recently, a hot particle was discovered 250 miles away from Fukushima. And it was so radioactive that if it were a pound of material instead of just a particle, the pound would be giving off 20 billion disintegrations per second in that one small cube of space. Luckily, it's just a small speck, but that small speck could easily be lodged in someone's lung. So, as I discovered when I was in Tokyo during the book tour in 2012, all of Japan is a radiologically contaminated area. And the people in Japan need to take extraordinary precautions. Well, the net effect of all this is that the total exposure to the Japanese is being grossly underestimated in the Abe administration's rush to get 50 nuclear power plants back online. Now, this is what we do at Fairewinds. We've been at it since 2011, and we've talked to you about hot particles. We've talked to you about noble gases. It's on our record. Maggie and I and the Fairewinds team have been working hard to get the truth out there so that we can protect our kids and our grandkids and the generations after that. Contributions to Fairewinds through our Indiegogo campaign will help us achieve that goal, because we know you care just as much about the future generations as we do. Thank you. I'm Arnie Gundersen. I'll keep you informed.